So more government employees, more federal government employees have been fired. So I don't know all the ins and outs of, of government work as far as, a lot of this is unionized. There's so many laws protecting these people. It's been said that it's a lot harder to fire a government employee than a private one. And I remember having a conversation when I was a kid with somebody that worked at NASA. And, he told me about how, these government employees were really hard to manage because you couldn't fire them. And, and then I said, well, why not just privatize it? Why not have private entities put satellites up in space? And he said, well, safety concerns and all that. As a little kid, I foresaw Elon Musk right there. But I've always been a proponent, just from a common sense point of view, of just saying, well, if this is the way the government works, then get rid of it. I mean, the post office, for example, there's private companies that do that. There's UPS, there's FedEx. There are other companies that deliver parcels across the country. Why do we need the government being involved in that? In the early days, the founding fathers believed that they needed a post office because, well, there was no private company and it was of vital importance. You could argue that within the military, when in regard to some government operation, maybe they can have their own localized post office there. But by and large, you don't need one. Same thing with roads, railroads, all that stuff. In the beginning of this country, that was all privately built. Now, it's not perfect. A lot of times they would build this infrastructure that benefited those that invested in it, those that built it. But nonetheless, it got built without a dime of government intervention. Somewhere along the line, the government gradually the government got more and more involved throughout the 19th century. And by the turn of the 20th century, the government already got involved in a lot of things. I mean, already they started having their finger in the pot of how companies ought to run. That's when you got the income tax, the central bank. They started to turn the country more into a direct democracy instead of the republic. But anyway, with that being said, now this is all tied to German philosophy. This is Immanuel Kant, this nihilism, which really started taking this country in the 1800s. But nonetheless, it's great that federal employees got fired. More and more of them are fired or leaving voluntarily, which is fantastic. They're probably going to get fired anyway if they don't leave voluntarily. But this is just a drop in the bucket. I saw one statistic, this is a few months ago, and I probably shouldn't say this because my memory is a bit hazy, but I'll just say this, that there is a significant portion of our GDP that is public sector, like a significant portion. It's not Soviet Union level, but it's still, it shouldn't be, GDP, government sector should be a blip. It should be the military and the court system and police, and that's it. We don't need government everywhere. A significant amount of our GDP should not be public sector. So anyway, drop in the bucket, but you need to fill it with drops before it even starts to fill up.